you're here tonight. For y'all who don't know who I am, I'm a UCO philosophy instructor. So that means I could be the devil's advocate.
You are.
Could.
You would be.
Well, from a former student, you've been duly warned. Okay? So I say that because I don't want to lecture. I want to interact. Okay? And really, Zach, Jess, Bree, Kevin, and I have all talked, and what we want to do is we want to start a conversation. Okay? And we want to start a conversation about relationships, specifically dating relationships, romantic relationships. Okay? I'm not going to finish the conversation tonight. I'm just starting. Okay? So this is the beginning of something that hopefully each one of y'all will keep going. Right? So we're just officially saying, look, we're here, we're open to hear about your concerns, about your experiences, good and bad, and if you're looking for advice. Okay? So that's really what's going on tonight. So we're going to start a conversation, and we're going to try to find different avenues and outlets to keep that going. Okay? So let's pray real fast, and we'll get it going. Father God, I thank you that you created all things, and everything that you made was good, and you said that. And Father, you made men and women, and it was really kind of cool, because really that's when the first poetry happened, was when Adam saw Eve. He broke out in poetry. He was so struck by her beauty and by the fact that she was perfect for him. And that just tells me that you think men and women being in relationships is fantastic. And then of course we know we're sinners. And so that means we need help. That we have this innate and in just, I don't know how I'm going to describe it, just this ability to undermine the things that you mean for good. We twist them into things that are bad. And so Holy Spirit, I ask you to come tonight. I know there's a lot of fear about this topic. Some people have had bad experiences with it. Some people just need healing. And so I just pray tonight that you would help us to start a conversation and help us to see that in this conversation you're going to share not only the truth about how you want us to be in relationships and what your vision is for relationships, but you're actually going to use this to help people to understand that maybe they need to experience healing. Maybe they need to talk to people and say, I'm hurt. I've been hurt in the past, and I don't know really how to get over this. And so I pray, Holy Spirit, that you would help this to not just be the start of a conversation, but to be the beginning of healing for some people, Father. So we don't know what all you want to do, but we know that whatever you want to do is going to be good, and it's going to be glorifying to you. So Holy Spirit, help that conversation to start tonight. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, real fast. I was going to title this talk, Godliness and a Good Day. You think there's some connection, right? If you're godly people should have good dates, right? Because we know God and He's good. Yeah, we know He's good, and we should be good in dating, right? I don't know. It doesn't always work out that way, right? So I was kind of worried about that. And then I thought, how about divine dating? Doesn't that sound slick? Divine dating. Hallelujah. Yeah! Like God has it designed for it. Okay, there's a problem. Here's actually what I named it. I named it Delightful Dating. Bullshit.
Hey, actually, on Delightful, I read it delusional.
So, delightful dating, bullshit, and the Bible. In fact, I forgot a word. I just had to put this word in. Bad bullshit. Okay? Now, I'm being quite irreverent, aren't I? Rachel's like, what? What? Why'd you name it that? Well, God, this is one of your favorite verses. Psalms 37:4, what is it?
Something about taste and see, right?
Delight yourself in the Lord,
yeah.
and He will give you the desires of your heart, right? And so, I think the key to having really good dating relationships is being satisfied in Jesus. I'm always perplexed and disturbed when I see Christians dating the same way non-Christians do. How can that be? Right? That's always bothered me. It's like, if God's loving on you, right, and you're filled with His Spirit, you should be doing things differently, but we often don't. Right? And so, I think we all know the Bible has stuff to say about dating, right? No, it doesn't. So I'll just leave. The Bible doesn't talk about dating? Nope. Sorry. Back in the Jesus day, they didn't date. They had arranged marriages. That's disturbing. So there's a problem there. So the Bible doesn't directly tell us about how to date. So that means that if you talk to Kevin or you talk to me, we're always giving you principles found in the Bible, but when we apply them, there could be a difference of opinion based on our life experiences. So when we have this conversation, don't expect to hear the same thing. And that's okay. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So the first thing is we all need to admit the Bible doesn't directly talk about dating. So that means that we're making inferences. We have to creatively put stuff together. Okay, now that doesn't mean there's some things that the Bible doesn't address. It does address sexuality, right? And that is related to dating. And there's some stuff that's clearly taught there. So I'm not saying we don't have any boundaries, but I'm just saying that back in the day, they had arranged marriages. So there was no getting to pick out who you married. Your mom and dad found somebody they thought was really cool, or as you can read the Bible sometimes, God would lead and direct people. But they didn't date, did they? God led and directed, they were married. Boom, there you are. Any of y'all want to have an arranged marriage? We might have to come back to that. Now, I want to put bad, because the people who know me, and a lot of people here don't know me, but the people that know me know I'm a bullshitter. Would you agree? Yeah. And some of it's in good taste, but most of it's in pretty bad taste. Right? Ask Rebecca last time we got together. It was pretty embarrassing. I felt sorry for Rebecca. So for y'all that were here, you know what I'm talking about. Right, Rachel? So anyway, but what I really want to talk about, this gets in the way. I'm assuming that every one of y'all want to have a relationship that glorifies God. I am assuming that. And that's what I wanted when I was your age. Did I do it? No. I didn't. I had a lot of relationships that were not glorifying to God. Okay, so it's a great reason for me to talk about this, because I've had experience and I really screwed up. So I can talk from experience. Now I had one relationship that was really fantastic, but all the ones before it, they weren't all train wrecks, but they weren't what God wanted. I fell short. Do you think any of y'all are going to fall short? I think so.
Unless there's that person in the room who has never dated anyone. Not saying I'm that person.
Yeah, I understand that. That's, yeah. But see, we need to talk about that. What are you going to do when things go south? How are you going to handle that? You know that relationships like this bring out the best and the worst. Don't be naive. Okay, let's see how many sinners we have in this circle. If you're a sinner, raise your hand. Okay, is that going to come out in your relationships? Thank you. All right, there you go. Yeah, that's great, right? So if you know you're a sinner, then why are you shocked when you do things in relationships that hurt them, that undermine them? Why you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. You're going to do it. Okay? So there's things that get in the way, and that's why I had up here, what are the things that get in the way? And Kevin brought this up when we had a little talk when we got together. He talked about, we need to remind these guys, the devil, the world, and your flesh. These are the things that get in the way, okay? So, if you have Bibles, we're actually going to look at our Bibles a little bit. And I've got a question here. Satan is what? What is Satan? What?
Liar.
Wow, it didn't take you long, Susan. You beat all the other guys here. Have you lived long enough that you're real clear about that?
I'm a little older than that.
Sentence says the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
All right, you can put that up there. I like that. I didn't have that. I had, get my glasses here. John 8:44, but I like the other one there that you got. John 8:44, and you had Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So I like that too. So is he going to stop doing this just because you start dating? He's like, hey, dude, man, I'm going to give you a break. No lies from me, man. You got 6 months of just living the truth, free of charge. Is that the kind of guy he is? Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Whoever he's kind of a guy that might make you think it that way.
But that's why I brought it up. Y'all all want to think when you start dating, somehow God's going to protect you. Right? And he might be protecting you. Okay? But he's also going to allow you to be tempted to show who you love more. That's just part of the walk. Okay, so, starts off, Satan is a liar. Okay, then you've got, I've got here, the world what incarnates and embodies Satan's lies. Okay, so we got a couple of verses here. John 15:19. So somebody can get that one. Romans 12:2 and 1 John 2:15 and 16. So what does John 15:19 say? Somebody got it? Go ahead.
If the world hates you, know that it has hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love you as its own. But because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you.
Okay, so are you going to expect any support when you're dating from people who don't know Jesus? Do you need to go to the internet and find out what they say?
Please no.
No. Right? That one good relationship I had that I really felt like glorified God. Well, we decided she'd never dated in her life. We were friends for 2 years, and then I felt like God said date her. And I decided that all my dating had started at the same place, with kissing. They ended up places I didn't want to be. So I went up to her, her name was Brenda. I said, Brenda, I think I'd like to date you, but I don't want to kiss you. How would you feel if I said that to you? She looked a little sad. She was a little downcast. I was like, okay, I just said that. I want to date you. I will want to kiss you, but I'm not going to kiss you. And of course, her obvious question was why? Why? That's right. Why? She said, why do you want to do this? I said, well, I've dated a lot of girls, and I've always started off with kissing, and it ends up places I like, so could you just do this adventure with me? And so she was like, sure, why not? She's never dated. And we had this super transformative relationship. I had an anger problem, and I was really struggling with it. I was asking God to help me get over it. And so I told her, like, if you ever get me angry, here's what you need to do. You need to leave me alone for a couple of days and let me cool off, because I might say things that I regret. So the first time it happened, I got angry. She left. In 30 minutes, she came back, knocking on my door. I was like, oh my gosh, this girl can't even listen to me and do what I ask her. And I'm like, open the door. And there she is, just bawling her eyes out. I I don't want you to be angry at me. Please, what did I do? Is there anything I did? And man, my anger just... The guy's like, you don't have to be angry. You're making a choice. You're making a choice. She was super shy. God so changed her that she ended up being on Oklahoma Gardening on TV. And even her mom and dad said, y'all got the weirdest relationship. Everybody gave us heat, right? The world's not gonna respect this. Even my mom was like, I knew you were weird, but I didn't know you were this weird. And my mom's not a Christian. And her parents weren't. They were like, well, this is a weird relationship, this whole no kissing. But they're like, it has so transformed you, we don't care. Right? So you're not gonna get support from the world. And I'm not saying you have to have a no kissing relationship. We're starting a conversation here. And if you get in a relationship, y'all are gonna have to have a conversation, aren't you? You get to create your own relationship. There's some boundaries, but within those boundaries, there's freedom. There's freedom to work out the kind of relationship that works for you guys, right? Okay, so the world's there. What do we have from Romans 12:2? Most people know this.
And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove that what the will of God is, and that which is good and acceptable and perfect.
Okay. Now before we head on, I want to play a little hangman over here. I had this really long, this is what I think you guys are going to have to create. So who knows how to play hangman? Come on, I'll let you do it. I'm going to take a break, drink some water. I'll tell them if it's right or not. I've got it. Yeah, so what are you going to ask them if they want a what?
What?
Do they want a vowel or a consonant?
What's the hint?
There's no hint.
Yes, letters.
Hey! Hey, let me look.
There's always a hint.
Oh, there is an A. Woo! All right, let's do
I
knew it.
Go, Joe.
There's that. I'm trying to get a drink here. Come on. Okay, go ahead. What's next?
E.
What? E. E. Oh my gosh. Here, I'm gonna let you look at it. It's right there.
I just don't
Figure
want
it
you to
out.
have a drink.
Don't tell him though.
There's no E.
No, there's an E. Come on, dude. I'm not gonna let you do it.
Oh, wait, this
Oh
one?
yeah, yeah.
Always an E.
You can't read my writing?
This is a trick question, isn't it? Are you gonna be my teacher?
Hey, no.
You almost wrote the wrong thing. Well, we know for now.
That's what you get for giving it a hint.
Josh, no problem.
Josh, talk to me. Talk to me.
I didn't see it.
I got.
Josh. Okay. I'll do it. Thanks, Josh.
It's right there. Here you go. Here's the marker. Here's the marker. Here's the marker.
You're the top one.
Yeah. And you can see there's a hyphen there, right? So you see the hyphen. It's kind of two words.
So right here.
Yeah, I'll take over. Just let me get a drink here unless you just want to do it.
Okay, next.
C.
There's a C.
There is a C.
Wow, you guys are so smart.
Oh, Gabby!
Josh, you erased the first line where the C is supposed to go.
I just weird.
No, there was another
No,
line.
they're saying right there. Yeah, so they're saying put the C on.
There's an O next to it.
Oh.
The U.
There's a U, I think.
Go
Maybe an
ahead.
N.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
T-
right.
Yeah.
You guys are doing really good.
Okay, cool. Wait, let me keep you going.
It's okay.
There must be a T somewhere.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So it's the
Oh.
There
Hey.
must be
Oh,
a T
she's
somewhere.
saying oh, like a donut.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh no.
Okay, Gavin. Yeah, me neither. I didn't see it.
Can anybody guess it yet? See,
Okay.
Timmy's like, I can't. Just
Tom's
shut
first
it.
person.
Let's
Oh,
let
I
these
know
guys
what it
struggle.
is.
Go ahead. If you
I
know
think I
it,
know what it is.
I have no idea.
Like the whole thing.
Go ahead. If you're ready to guess.
Oh, countercultural?
Yeah, put it up there. Spell the whole thing out.
Woo!
I don't want to waste a lot of time.
Oh, boy, Waleed. Woo!
Countercultural.
Thank you, sir. Both of you. You were so generous to give them those extra clues.
Thank you,
I was ready for phonetics.
Now, girl, what did we learn tonight? We learned that somebody is generous.
Josh is generous.
He's a generous guy. He likes to help people. Remember that.
If you ever have free cash.
Okay, so what we read was what? Do not be conformed to this world. What y'all are going to have to create is a countercultural community. That's just the truth. So you need to think about that. You need to intentionally decide, I'm going to be countercultural. And to do that, notice it's countercultural community. I hope y'all can come to an agreement about what that'll look like, what that'll involve. That y'all can be talking about that, praying about that, reading the scriptures, asking God to show you what does it mean to be a countercultural community when it comes to having dating relationships. Now, Raj and I teach, and even this semester, we did feminism, and I played a song, Beyonce, If I Were a Boy, and my classes got into this, what they were looking for in a guy, and what they were looking for in a woman. And it was pretty, would you agree, it's pretty intense?
It was great.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. I know the song, I've never seen the clip, so it was really great.
Right? So I can tell you, I know that there's no dating out there anymore. People don't date. I'm not like naive about what's going on. You're invited to come over and watch Netflix, which means we're going to have sex. So I know what you hear, I know what you see, and I know that's not pleasing to God. So when I'm telling you you need to be countercultural, I'm telling you that because I know what's going on the college campus. Okay? So if you actually start going on a date and telling some of your friends who aren't Christians, you can expect pushback, or you can expect interest. Really? A guy took you out on a date? Like, to a movie? To a restaurant? On a walk? There's lots of ways to do evangelism. There's lots of ways to express the good news. So again, if y'all are a countercultural community that dates each other with real love and respect, it'll get noticed. It'll get noticed. Thoughts? Feedback? What are you thinking? It's supposed to be a conversation and y'all guys are not talking.
For good listeners.
My little brother's in high school right now. It's a Christian group he's really part of as well, homeschool, but even it, I mean, it's kind of the same deal. People are kind of naive. Just because you're homeschooled doesn't mean you get a bunch of junk. And, you know, we can tell you, like, 4 of our friends, you know, I don't know, it is weird just that people don't date anymore. You know, and even when you're homeschooled, private school, you think you're going to be an exception, but you realize that it's not what makes the exception. What makes an exception really seeking God first. And that's something really, in the past couple of years, I've never dated anybody or lived in a relationship with anybody just because I've been praying about it. I'm like, you know, I don't want to do it unless it's a girl I really think that would honor God, honor my family. Because, I mean, it talks about that it's no longer I who live, but God who lives through me. And so I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
For me, it's like, I don't think it's a casual thing at all. Like, and I don't know, it's weird too, like, because people ask people on dates, but when I'm on the second date, they do stuff that I mean, just for my mind, it just kind of blows my mind, you know? Especially when they're Christian, like, you even read your Bible. I mean, that's just what blows my mind, because, like, one of my friends, we were talking about it, it's weird. I mean, I kind of confronted him, because he was doing some stuff with a girl, and I was just like, you know, dude, you're the one that told me not to do that.
Right.
Like, what happened, you know? And it was one of those things where, you know, it's kind of culture. He's like, well, everyone else is doing it. I'm like, yeah, everyone else is doing it. Everyone else is dying by age, what, like 70? They have a bunch of, you know, they're carrying burdens, they're carrying past relationships, they're carrying sexual disease, I mean, they're carrying a lot of stuff. honestly, it's better to wait. Waiting is time wasted, it's time prepared.
Right. But you're right? So he's giving in because, again, he's not committed to being countercultural. That's why I had this up here. And the weird thing, again, we're having a conversation here, but you've got to decide, is God calling you to be a countercultural dater?
Okay, so I have a question. Do we have to be countercultural in order to have a godly relationship? Assuming that the culture is not always like the way, the bad way we see it. I'm just, I like, it's not always the way that people think it is. I'm not saying that it is not, but
No, I mean, if there's other people that are dead,
I'm asking
that's
because I'm like-
consistent with the Bible, that's fine, that's awesome. I think that would be cool. I just don't think it happens much.
Yeah, I'm asking because I'm not from the same American culture.
Oh, yeah. If you
So
went-
that's really from my point of view. Usually what we do in Morocco would be, I assume they really like there are of course a lot of boundaries. Like there is a
Yeah.
date and then there's marriage, and those are two different things. So do we have to be countercultural in that situation or not?
No, in Morocco would be different, but right, they're probably trying to do things that are consistent with the Quran,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I have a feeling there might be some overlaps between the Quran and the
Mhm.
scriptures on this.
Mhm.
So yeah, in that sense, no, you can actually probably act consistent with your culture,
So
from where you're coming from. Yeah.
So, if I understood that correctly, it's really like the way God would be, like, we know it would be a glorifying relationship from God, then we would actually agree on a relationship that has a, like, that's going through a good path, right?
Right. You want to end up with a relationship that there's minimum harm,
Mm-hmm.
minimum shame,
Yeah.
and no regret. That's what you want. But trying to do that is going to be extremely challenging.
Can you say that again, please? Minimum harm.
Minimum harm, minimum shame, and no regret. I mean, that's what I felt like I had with Brenda. Yeah.
I have a kind of comment about what you're saying. The way I see it, Christianity / a relationship with Christ is the counterculture. No matter really what culture you're in, sinful nature is what you're countering against. The second thing, when it comes to relationships you never know if a relationship is going to lead to a marriage until you're marrying them. So that way, how I view it in approaching a relationship is, you should be dating the other person knowing that they may not be the person you end up marrying. Therefore, you should be able to say that you have honored the person that they end up marrying as well.
I love that. That's great. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's super cool. But you raise up an interesting question. Why date? Should you only date a person that you think you'll marry? Why should Christians even date? If it's as dangerous as we're making it out to be, and we haven't even gotten down to the flesh. Of course, the flesh is what's really going to hang us up. But we got the flesh as our unredeemed aspect of our inner person that is still alienated from God. Right? So I'll put some verses up there, but I want to follow up on yours. I like the ideal of why date? Why date?
So dating should ultimately, like the goal of dating will be marriage.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
I've got a big truth up here. Let's say that, of course, your final goal is marriage, but we've already said that you might date a few people that you're not going to marry.
But
So-
if you're not convinced that you have this possibility of marrying them, then you shouldn't date them in the first place.
I don't know. Is that right? What do you think, Rachel? Look at Rachel's like, no, I don't agree with that. See, this is a great conversation. See, we're having I want y'all to be able to have
So
a
you're saying that
conversation and
you
have
date
different ideas.
someone, even if you know that someone, I'm not gonna marry him, but I'm just gonna date him.
Well, just like, who said it? Who said it? You don't know till you're at the altar. But, so if the purpose of dating is just Ronnie, you're so happy.
Yeah, he loves it.
Talking.
He does that in the
I am
class
happy.
all the time.
So if the purpose of dating is just to marry, well then a huge percentage of all dating relationships is failure.
No, I agree with you, but
So-
like you're not gonna date someone if you don't think that you're gonna marry that person. Like you'd be like,
Their
I'm not gonna
marriage
marry
potential.
you, but
Their
I'm
marriage potential. You're saying
That's
there's a-
right. The marriage potential is very important.
Right.
That's really what I'm saying.
Even are you ever like 110%?
No, you're not.
Act
You
like
will
sure
never.
about whether or not you like somebody. Like maybe it's just
You'll
like
never
a,
be 110%. That's for sure.
But maybe if what if you're like 99% sure you don't like this person and then they ask you out on a date?
Well,
Should you do it if you're like 99% sure? I don't like
I'm
them?
I'm not seeing where the question is heading. Like I don't see any relationship.
I
You see
understand
what
what
I'm
you're saying.
saying? I don't think you see what I'm saying.
Go,
No,
John.
no.
Go.
I think for me, like I understand what you're saying. Like
Thank you.
for me, like if I'm gonna date someone or I'm gonna have a relationship with someone, I like to be very clear with that person. Like okay, like I like you, but I don't know, like I need to know, first I need to know that person very, very well. And then I'll be like, hey, I really would like to have a relationship with you, but my ultimate goal will be marriage. Do you see us like maybe potentially like getting
That's
married
right.
or something like that?
That can
I mean, what's wrong with this?
I'm sorry. I think like I've been to relationships that, and I'm just like tired of just having relationship just to have like
Yeah.
you know company or
Yeah, I agree. I would agree with that. I mean, what's
But-
wrong with it?
But I know some like it seems harsh, but like it's better to be just
Okay,
like
No,
So-
it
so
doesn't
let me-
seem, it doesn't seem harsh, it seems like you're rushing things, right? I think that seems a little like.
No, like I mean I didn't say like right now, like
Okay,
let's do it right
can I-
now.
can I
I'm just
throw
saying like
something in the stew?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I don't have an answer, but I want to throw a question out there. So I feel like we're basically saying there's two extremes and we don't like either of them. There's this extreme of you only date for the purpose of marriage, and that's like you're destined for failure. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't work. But then there's also this I just dated for fun, but that was really unfulfilling, and that didn't. So there's apparently this middle line. So what does that look like?
Oh, wait, we got some, you didn't press, go ahead.
Okay, so I think in relation to what Walid said, you can only find out if you're going to marry this person if you date them. So along the dating period, that's when you find out if this is a person you really want to marry or it's gonna end up in failure. And I think it still applies to what Rachel was.
That's
Time out!
That's right.
Time out! I'm so hurt by this failure word. Why are you bringing this word in? This is so mean. You're like, if I don't marry the person, I'm a failure? That's just really making me sad.
like for example with like my ultimate goal.
Okay, hold on, I got lots of people, go ahead. Be patient.
I think the middle line is to communicate that you don't take dating as something that's not serious. Like, it's
Yeah,
important to
exactly.
communicate that you take dating seriously.
That's right.
In other words, to communicate, like, whenever you're expressing I want to date this person, you also express that it's not something just for fun.
Yeah.
Gabby wants to talk.
I was just gonna say, nothing is ever really a failure, like you said. You've successfully determined that this is not the person you're
That's a good perspective.
Let the preliminary hurt begin.
That is awesome.
Did I see some hands over? Yes.
I had a question. Because I'm viewing things from my own lens, my own dating perspective, which is very contrary to everybody else's that I know. I just wanted to pose you a question.
Yes.
From my perspective. Say you have a guy, starting at about 5 years old, maybe about seven. Said kid walks through his entire next decade of life, seeing nothing but pain, and filters everything through a lens of pain. So
Yeah.
he's either sad or mad 100% of the time, or
Okay.
sleeping. and then all of a sudden he gets out. And he feels that everybody around him, you know, is different or whatever. But through that whole time, he's not dating anybody because he knows that when he dates somebody, he has this tendency to show great kindness because just his emotions go so deep that the person gets overflowed. And generally, since it's a girl, they run after him, either run after him or run away.
Okay.
And so that happens, and then all of a sudden, he meets a girl who he thinks could, like, who's basically just like him.
Okay.
Then what happens?
Well, actually, I think that kind of scary,
Yeah.
right? Because probably they're going to go too deep, too fast, and they're going to feel that there's this bonding here that maybe's not real. Okay, so that's what I think. Okay, let me put up a big truth. Some of you'll know it. What is it?
Where it talks about carnal nature.
Nope. Romans 8:29.
In the spirit?
Nope. That should be up there if I'd ever finish this stuff on the flesh. We'll get back to it.
28.
For those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to become conformed to the image of his Son, so that he would be the firstborn among many brethren.
Oh my gosh, guys, be countercultural. Why do you date? To be conformed to the image of Christ. It's discipleship done in a different key. See you guys, thanks for coming tonight. Right, so I'm assuming they're taking off.
Oh, I thought you were like saying endpoint, like boom, I said it all.
Right, so typically we do discipleship same sex. Have you ever thought about viewing discipleship as what I do when I date? Right, so the goal of the relationship is for us to help each other be conformed to the image of Christ. That's the in-between. Then there's no failure, no wasting of time. When Brenda and I's relationship ended, and she ended it, I might have wanted to marry her. Yeah, I was sad. I call it good hurt, bad hurt. Good hurt is when you would date somebody again, and you think, wow, that was fantastic. She or he was a fantastic person, and I would take that trip again in a second. Maybe it didn't end the way I wanted it to, but the journey was so fantastic. Right? Did it help me to be conformed more to the image of Christ? Absolutely. Did it help her? Absolutely. Right, so then you're not wasting time. You're not wasting time. And I could ask Susan, does your husband help you to be conformed to the image of Christ?
Absolutely.
Do you help him?
Absolutely.
And so do I. So you're starting something that if you end up with somebody that you think you're going to marry, things don't radically change. You just get married, you get some good stuff called sex, nice icing on the cake, but the real core of the relationship is still, I want to help you grow in God. So why do you hold that off? Why do you not do it now while you're dating? Right? So that's what I'm saying. That's the big truth. You're not wasting time. Another thing that'll surprise you is you need to learn skills. Oh, gosh. Guys, have you ever noticed that girls are really different from us? Have you guys picked that up? You have, still. Yes. Okay.
Nice.
Girls, have you noticed that guys are different from you? Yeah. Right? And guess what? I had this little story I was telling. I was dating Connie. We were in Lawton. And she goes, are you hungry? I'm riding, driving the car. I'm like, nope. 2 minutes later, are you hungry?
She's hungry.
Yeah. No, I'm not hungry. I'm kind of dumb though. See, I'm dumb. Right? So 3 more minutes later, are you hungry? What is going on? I've already told you I'm not hungry. And then she's like, well, I am. Will you stop? And how do women communicate? Indirectly. Am I right? Ladies,
hard.
Am I right?
Yes.
So guys,
Hard.
you have to learn to hear a question as
Read between the
a
lines.
request. So now if I'm driving along, he's like, are you hungry? I'm like, where do you want to eat?
right.
Because I've been trained. Right? I have been trained. So I'm telling you, communications. Oh my gosh. The way women communicate. Right. I'm just going to tell you what I think, right? And you're going to be like, okay. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Don't hurt his feelings.
Ronnie, if you have to tell them, it doesn't count.
Oh my gosh. I've had that too. Oh my gosh. That drives me crazy. Okay. Do you think that men and women fight differently?
Yeah.
Can you fight fair? Can you fight graciously? Can you forgive, or do you like me, where I held on to grudges for a long time? And I just, that was who I was. That's what I did. I mean, I thought I couldn't do any different until I met Brenda. Right? And then God started working through her. Right? So I'm saying there's lots of things you've got to learn, skills that you can work on along the way if you will focus on them. Okay, so after that, I'm going to put my verses just so you'll have them, and then I'm going to talk about the stuff. And do we have the handout? Kevin, what'd you do with it? We're going to talk about it. Okay, so we have the flesh is our unredeemed, blah, blah, blah. So I'm using Ephesians 2, 1 through 3. And of course, Galatians, that's where some of you want to go, and I think that's a great place to go. 5, 13 through 25. Here's what I want to talk about, really. And it has nothing to do with the Bible. That's what's going to shock you. Okay? Here's what happens. When you see somebody that you're interested in, your brain releases a chemical called dopamine. Here's the effect of dopamine. It's in a thing. We'll try to post it. I think we're going to try to post some articles I have that I teach out of. The article is called This Thing Called Love. And what they say is dopamine creates, one, intense energy. What does that mean? That means that you can stay up all night long talking and still get up the next day and feel good. When that's happening, when you stayed up all night long talking to that person, and the next day you get up and you go to class and you're like, yeah! You're on dopamine. Okay?
Dope.
So, guess what? What else does it have? It has exhilaration. So I've got 4 of them here. I'm going to put them all up here. We'll talk about them. Oh, yeah. Focused attention. And the last one is motivation to win rewards. Okay, exhilaration is when you think they're the greatest person you've ever met. Right? You're so excited about being in a relationship with them. Okay? Focused attention. Oh yeah. That's when you're trying to study and then you have to text them thinking of you. Right? And you find yourself constantly thinking of them. Wondering what they're doing. Wondering if they're fixing to text you or call you. You can't wait till you're going to talk to them this evening. That's focused attention. Here's the scary one. Motivation to win reward. You want to do and say things that make them happy. And guess what? What they discovered is this pan-human. Everybody has this ability. And here's what you want to do. You want to say this is love. You want to say this is love. All this. And if you read the article, what they say is they've done studies between people that are on dopamine and people that have obsessive compulsive disorder. And it looks the same when they look at the brains on the MRI. They have the same kind of brain. So when you're on dope, you're suffering from a mental illness.
So you're saying love is a mental illness?
Yeah, no.
I'm just trolling. I'm just
No. I'm saying, here's the key. I do think the world says this is love. Right? Think about it. Girls, if a guy says he wants to make love to you, what's he really saying? I want to have sex. Why do we talk about making love? You're not making love, you're having sex. I often tell my girls in my class, I'm like, when a guy comes up to you and says, oh, I want to make love to you, why don't you just tell me you want to F me? Let's just be honest. I said, that guy will be reeling back really fast. Right? But why do we lie to each other? That's what we're doing. Oh, that's right, because we have somebody who's a liar. And we have a world that embodies his vision, his perspective, his priorities. And again, we can look, we have a flesh that will just suck right up to it in a second. Right? So that's what the world does. The world says, that's love. And so here's what's going to happen. This lasts, it's on that, somewhere on there, I think it's 6 to 18 months. It's on there. Okay? So here's what happens in relationships. At some point, you're going to hear this. You've changed. Or, you know, I'm in love with you, I just don't love you anymore. And that person who says, you changed? You haven't changed. You're like, what? No, I'm the same sweet person. What's going on here? Who's changed? They've changed. They're off their dope. And suddenly those cute little things that they love so much, oh gosh, they're so irritating now. But now you're like compromised. You're like, I used to love that, but now it drives me crazy, but I can't tell her that it drives me crazy because I told her I loved it. I love it when you say that. When you do that. Oh my gosh, it's just such a mess. Right? So here's my question. If you're going to be a countercultural community, you're going to have to learn how to handle that shift. Because you're probably both not going to go off the dopamine at the same time. And one of you is going to not feel that same exhilaration, intense energy, and focused attention. Now, if you mistake the dopamine for love, what do? Well, you don't love them anymore, so you move on. Now, you can do that in this community. But you're not going to learn what real love is. Right? What did Jesus say was the greatest commandment? Love the Lord your God with what?
All your heart, all your soul, all your mind.
And all your strength. So love is a holistic experience. It involves all that you are being given to God first, and then loving other people with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and all your strength. And guess what? You know, when this runs out, that's when you have to be strong. See, you want an easy, lazy love that just happens, don't we all? You just want to be in love with that person. Just think they're the greatest. And it's just so energizing to be around them. Hey, why can't love be like that 24/7 for 50 years? Because you wouldn't get anything done. You're obsessed with that person. I mean, I try to tell my son, like, what are you going to do when you get married and you have kids? And you have a 2-year-old and you're like, oh, I love you, you're on the couch. I said, what does the 2-year-old always do? They come in, they try to just get right in between you. People that are on dopamine do not make good parents. They're not good at work. This is an illusion. This is bad bullshit. This is what will get in the way of you guys having a delightful dating relationship. Because what Satan's going to do, he's going to try to get you to interpret this experience as love, and then when you don't feel it anymore, you're going to move on. And then you're going to do it again and again and again, and you're gonna start feeling like you really are a failure. Because it keeps on happening and they keep on leaving. And then you think love's not real. Okay, so in this thing called love, they talk about oxytocin. Oops. Oxytocin. There we go. Okay, and what this is, it's a bonding. It's a brain chemical that you have that when this stops, this kicks in, and then you actually start bonding to each other. It's released when women breastfeed. It's released when you hug. It's released when you have sex. Okay? In fact, when women have sex, this goes off the chart. So let me be frank. Girls, if you engage in sex with a guy, you are bonding your brain out and he's not. Have you ever noticed how, this whole friends with benefits, I read them all the time from my students, that women just get hurt more easily. They get more emotional. That's because you have more of this. You're bonding. We're not. So if you want to protect yourself, don't have sex. I'm being as frank as I can be. If you want to protect yourself, one of your boundaries when you're dating is no sex, period. Not going to happen. And that agrees with what God says, right? But God tells us stuff. Don't have sex before marriage because he loves you. He wants to protect you. I don't think we always believe that. Sometimes we feel like God's trying to keep us from experiencing stuff that's good and exciting and fun. Oh, that's right. Now we're back up to Satan. That's what he says. Right? But what we're learning about how the brain works. I mean, I tell my students aren't Christians. I'm like, look, don't have sex. Because you're bonding and you can't help it. You're made that way. And that's why the guy can have sex with you. And the next day you're thinking about him, he doesn't even call. Okay? Now, here's what's cool about this. Here's what I want you to understand. I think God actually had something in mind when he set this up, this whole dopamine into oxytocin. And here's what it was. Getting to know somebody takes a lot of time and energy, doesn't it? Isn't it great that God set it up where, yeah, you have increased energy, right? You want to get to know them. You want to spend time with them. You're focused about them. And then you can really get to know each other in a short period of time. You can really quickly make a call like, yeah, there's really something here. I think I'd like to keep this, or you can go, oh, yeah, there's too many things I've seen that I'm like, not interested, right? But once that wears off and y'all got a pretty strong relationship going, that's why it's like 6 to 18 months, you'll get to know somebody by then. Okay? Then of course, yeah, you want to kick into the real relationship. Right? That's when you get to start loving them with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and all your strength. That's when sometimes they do things that irritate you or you start having arguments. Right? That's the real stuff. This is fake. It's real, but it's not reliable. You'll never get a long-term godly relationship if all you do is the dopamine. So I'm trying to say, don't misinterpret this. Okay? I already had somebody who was dating in this group. Because see, here's what I'm worried about the dope. Here's what you're going to do. You're not going to believe it. And you're going to say stuff like this. God just gave me a real heart for her. I'm sitting there thinking, you're on the dope. God has nothing to do with this. You got this going on, the dopamine. You're focused on them. You're excited about them. No, you're on the dope. No, I'm telling you, God really gave me a heart for them. Okay, well, I don't know what to do. And so here's what I want you to understand. When you're on the dope, you need help. You need help. Because it's in your brain. You can't control it. If you think you can control this dopamine, you're dumb. You're just dumb. This is why you need friends. We all know this. we've all had friends, they got on the dope, and you know what they quit doing? They quit hanging out with their friends, don't they? They start hanging out with that person the whole time. And I lost gobs of guy friends. We'd always like after a while, you go, yeah, but he'll be back. You know, and he's going to pay for abandoning us, right? So we'd rib them, you know. Won't even use all the phrases that floated around that we said about guys that, you know, did that. Okay? So I'm telling you, admit right now, have the humility to say, I won't be able to handle the dope, and pick somebody out that you're going to say, speak the truth to me. Does that make sense? So, you know, again, we call that accountability relationships, but they can just be friends. They can be friends. To say, right, you know this is the dopamine, right? Enjoy it. You can't, I want you to enjoy it, but don't make any big decisions when you're on the dopamine. Just learn to ride it skillfully. Okay? I'm going to give you a negative example. I had a friend, he knew about all this, I'm not going to tell you what church it was, we were really good friends. He was dating this girl, and at one point he even said, I'm going to ask this girl to marry me. They've been dating for like a year. I said, no, you're not. I said, you're not even off your dopamine. And he said, no, I am. I said, no, you're not. I said, I'm not going to let you. I said, y'all don't even know who y'all are yet. So he didn't, which was good. And then I get a call. We had our first fight. Oh, welcome to reality. Yeah. Okay. And it still ended up a train wreck because he had sex with her a lot. And it all went bad. He spent $10,000 paying some bills she had because he didn't handle this well. He was married, divorced. He's not you guys. He had experience. He still couldn't handle it. So I'm telling you, you can't handle the dope. Get some help. Get some friends. And tell me the truth, even when I don't want to hear it. Or it doesn't seem like I'm listening. Okay? So another thing I want to talk about is I don't want to, I have a feeling we're going over, aren't we? So, okay. It's on the, let me see the article here. So it talks about the brain chemistry, and you can read this now. I think I probably had your interest there. But I do like this. He starts it off with, what does a brain in the throes of initial romantic passion look like, feel like, behave like? The briefest explanation is that it looks eerily similar to a brain on cocaine. And in the book I took this from, he has a picture of a brain on cocaine and a brain on dopamine, and they do look almost identical. So again, let me just tell you, you can't handle the dope. Okay, don't think you can, right? That's the stuff that's getting in the way of you not really. See, I could give you a bunch of scriptures. Right now, I understand why Christians end up dating and having relationships that look a lot like non-Christians because they didn't know about this. I didn't know about that. See, here's another thing that I worry about. You get on the dope, somebody, I'll use Rachel as an example. I could see her doing this. She's praying, oh God, I love you so much. Oh, he is so good looking. I'm so good. And then you're like, idolatry, God, please forgive me. I know I'm putting him before you. I say that because I know Rachel's super committed to God, right? So that can mess with her head in another way where she's like, so again, it's learning how to just pray and say, God, I'm on dopamine. I'm just thankful that you're merciful and you're graceful. And you know I'm really going to be thinking about this guy a lot. And it's embarrassing, but you made my brain this way. So I know you understand, right? So then it deepens your understanding of who God is. Right? Does that make sense? I'm sorry to use that example, but again, it's kind of a compliment because I know that you really want to live a life that's pleasing to God. And of course, I know everybody in here does. Okay? But I think that could happen. Okay? Now, if you go to the second page, second paragraph, this is the other thing I want to talk about. Because people don't know about this either. The brain is moldable. What you're learning about the brain is it has millions of synaptic pathways, okay? And what we have is we have a use or lose it policy. So if you keep reinforcing this dopamine love story, then literally that's the kind of brain you'll have. And when you hit the oxytocin, it will feel unnatural and uncomfortable. You won't like it. You're like, no, love shouldn't be this way. You literally, if you go from one relationship to another relationship to another relationship, and you do this dopamine over and over again, you're literally molding your brain that that's the only way you will be able to understand and enjoy a relationship. That's kind of scary, isn't it? So there is some seriousness to how you do your relationships. So again, you want to be molding your brain in a way that I'm being conformed to the image of Christ, even in these dating relationships. So how I put it to my students is, responsibility is hardwired into your head. Like, go back to Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed. It's really more true than we ever knew. Okay? Now, I know I'm over time, so I'm just going to say one more thing. I know I shouldn't. It's a Christian group, but I'm going to anyway. Porn. Time recently released an article. Porn was the front page headline. And I'm assuming every guy in here views porn. I don't care if you're Christian or not. It's just a matter of how deep your relationship with porn is. If it is, and if you do, you need double help. Right? And believe it or not, I'm going to ask you to do a hard thing. If you get serious about any of these girls in Anchor, or really any girl, you need to tell her, I've got a porn problem. All right? Just think about it. If you're watching 4 hours of porn a day, you're molding yourself into a porn head. And that means anytime you see a girl, your head is going one place and one place only. And you're going to be tortured. You're going to be tortured. Because I don't think most of the women in here are going to want to go there with you. So you might need to talk to Kevin or Zach. They literally have websites. And these are from non-Christians who say, and this is what you're headed for. So for you guys that are viewing porn, here's what you're headed for. There's guys now who watch so much porn, as they put it, their plumbing doesn't work with a real woman. So I'm sharing this article in my classes now. It's not being received very well. And I don't really care. Because, right, it's a lie. It comes to what? Kill, steal, and destroy. So if you're doing porn, you need to start fighting it. And here's the deal. Here's how bad it is. This is how I know the guys are viewing porn. They can't even do a scientific experiment because they can't find a control group. They can't find any men that haven't viewed porn. They've tried. And here's the scary thing. So where's the only area the porn industry can grow? Girls. If you've already got all the men, where's your growth area? So the new growth area is women. So I'm not just talking to the men. Women, if you're viewing porn, stop. Right? Satan's going to tell you all kinds of stuff. It's all lies. All right, so we started a good conversation tonight. I'm going to end it. Sorry, I ended it on a bad note. At least I could end it on a good note. But we're going to carry on this conversation. I like the fact that y'all all talk to each other. Here's two things I would say y'all need to talk about practically. First, what's a good date? talk about that and talk about boundaries. Right, I got to the point where, as I started dating women, I'd say, look, sometimes my hands can get a little, going places they shouldn't go, and you need to stop me. Girls, do you want to hear that? You want the guy to say, yeah, I can struggle in this area, and I want you to stop me. And I even say, I'll probably get back, I might leave, but I'll call you the next day and tell you thanks. I had that struggle with my wife, and pretty soon it got where she would just stop me immediately, and she's like, I was like, man, you've gotten really good at this. She's like, well, she said, you're the first guy I've dated who ever said, you can stop me, and you came back. And she said, the more you kept coming back, the more I thought, I'll just stop him as soon as I walked. Right? So talk about boundaries. Doesn't have to be the first day, but when you think things are starting to heat up, you need to have an honest discussion. And again, guys, you're going to have to learn to respect women. And you're going to have to empower them to make sure that they're comfortable saying no. Okay? You got to decide what's a good date. You guys need to talk about this. You guys don't date. What's a good date? And I don't want any of y'all to feel like, oh my gosh, we're dating. That's serious and we're going to get married. No, we're dating because we want to get to know each other. Right? We want to learn how men and women relate to each other. And I want to learn how to do that in a way that I can help you to become more like Christ, and hopefully you can help me to become more like Christ. Right? So what does that mean? So that's what I would encourage y'all to do. Start having these conversations like we did earlier with each other. Just start talking about it. And you can talk about it even with people you don't want to date. I mean, just, hey, it's just nice to study the other sex and find out, well, where are they coming from and what do they think and how do they feel. Don't just talk to people that you want to date. Talk to other people that you don't even want to date, that you just think is a good friend. It's either a girl or a guy, but you're a good friend, and you can ask honest questions and say, what would you think is a good date? You know, what are you looking for in a guy, or what are you looking for in a girl? I want y'all to start having conversations like that. Okay? All right, so I'm done. Y'all can say whatever you want. So I'll pray.